Okay, so the next place that I'll put some colour, again, they don't have to be done in this order. I'm just picking and choosing. That's what I'm going to do. So you can see on the monitor there, or on your screen, the difference in, well, how pale it looks at the top now, and then how warm, a bit tricky to do it, but how warm it now looks underneath. So what I tend to do when I'm painting is I treat them as individual sections, so parts of the face. So I'll make a mental note of painting the lips, a mental note of painting the chin, a mental note of the nose, the cheeks, the eyelids, eye hoods maybe, definitely brow. Separate the brow from the forehead, then forehead's one, top of head or back of head, depending on what it is you're doing. Because if I remember that when I'm painting, then I will quite naturally and quite easily keep some separation to the paint job. So by that I mean, if you go to this one here, number 21, can you see that I've kept this, what I like personally? It's a bit of a style of mine, especially when I'm doing these sort of more generic paint jobs. But can you just see that I've on purpose, left this area without much colour on now in this part of the process to keep that pale. And then I've warmed up the eyelids, I've warmed up the nose, warmed up the cheek, warmed up the lip, the chin, and I've kept these nice natural pale areas. Now, of course, if they're too pale later, then I can darken them. But if you lose this separation, then you can't get it back very easily. I would recommend when you're learning is to keep that paler than what you think, and you can darken it later. I'd rather these be too separated, so it almost looks like he's been wearing sunglasses in the sun, or he's been wearing sunglasses on a sunbed, that type of thing. I'd almost rather them be two panda eyes and bring them together at the end than be, have no separation. Because what I tend to find is people paint this here and they like the colour and they just get a bit lost and they just go a bit further up, and then before you know it, this colour is there, and then it's there, then it's here. It just goes everywhere. So keeping that separation is something really worth sort of drumming into you, or drumming into yourself, really. So let me go to, I'm going to go to this camera, I think maybe, and then we're going to zoom in. So I'm going to work on the eyelid area. So again, having a little bit of separation can just look quite nice. There's this one here, another face. So that's what I'm trying to sort of achieve in this bit, really. So you can either just keep your airbrush moving around like this and almost mottling it on, or you can, go and give it some direction. They will all just give very slightly different effects. So if I just try to get that on there, and again, if you just go a little bit too much onto there, you can just, I don't know if I actually have, but I'm just sort of demonstrating to you again, you can just take away and leave that highlight on there. Used to it. If you can, try to learn how to do it correctly first time, because then you will learn how to do it properly. You'll learn how to, because there'll be some times when you're painting a different material where you don't have chance to take it off. You've got to get it right first time. So at some point in your career or practicing, you'll want to make sure that you're practicing to try and get it right first time. Like I said, if you think it's a little bit too strong now, then you're probably right. So just take it back and then add to it later. If your intuition is normally correct, if you think something's not quite right. So coming to life a little bit more compared to what it was. Now again, I think when I'm just looking at it on the monitor, quite handy having a monitor sometimes, I'm just going to knock it back so they look similar to each other. Now they don't have to match, obviously, because a lot of people don't have matching, side to side, left to right. So just pick the head up, look around, make sure you're happy with anything, you know, the paint is where you want it to be, or more importantly, the paint isn't somewhere that you don't want it to be, if that makes sense. Makes sense to me. Now, of course, you can, all these bits here that I was showing you, you know, when I was saying you get your airbrush and you airbrush under here to get that. If you're not confident with using the airbrush, or you just keep going wrong all the time, then obviously get a brush and get the brush under there and put it in. I'm just trying to show you an airbrush on here as much as possible, because then that's the idea of the course, really, or that's because it's really efficient. You don't have to keep reloading a paintbrush all the time. If you've got your paint in here, you can just keep going until the paint runs out. If you're using a paintbrush on a palette, every time you go to there to reload it, you only have a few seconds before the paint starts to thicken, solvent evaporates, and then you have to reload again, and it can just take quite a bit of time, basically.